episode of Who Would Win, a show that completely ignores anything important happening in the world and instead focuses on a fictional battle between characters from the worlds of comics, sci-fi, and fantasy. I'm your host, James Gavsie, and as always, I'm joined by the one, the only, Eric Holmes. In today's episode, a frail World War II volunteer transformed by a super soldier serum into the ultimate embodiment of courage and moral resolve battles, I'll say it, a conflicted dark side prodigy torn between legacy and rage. In one corner stands Captain America, a previously scrawny Brooklyn kid turned peak human sentinel, hurling a star-spangled disc of vibranium to defend freedom, and in the other corner, by the way, it's a star-spangled disc of vibranium and adamantium into a combination of stuff that people don't know what the formula is, so they can't replicate it. Sorry, just had to drop some nerd knowledge there. And in the other corner, you have Kylo Ren, a brooding heir to a galactic dynasty, kind of like the Kim Kardashian of Star Wars, cloaked in midnight robes and a voice-changing helmet, who uses an unstable red lightsaber to seize control as a Sith Lord. As usual, I did the patented Who Would Win Google test just to see how many times this matchup has been discussed. And this matchup, this one surprised me, has been debated quite a bit online. I was really kind of shocked by this, but it's never been debated by someone who absolutely can't stand the character of Kylo Ren like me. Legion of Audience, you've known this about me for years. Not a fan of Kylo Ren. Eric Holmes, what are your thoughts on today's matchup?
Yeah, you just mentioned it. You're not a fan of his, and I'm very excited that I get to rep Kylo Ren, just how you're not a fan of mine either. So,
oh, really? You want to play spoiler in this episode? And just so you're saying if you get the win with Kylo Ren, I'll be extra upset.
Yes, just have you walking around town angry. Yep.
That's just every other day. I mean, that's not going to change things.
Today's going to be just even more exceptional, angrier James running around town.
I do think, Eric, you do have a talent of knowing how to push my buttons.
Yes.
Yeah.
I go, this button, that button.
Yeah,
no, this button. This is
right.
the one.
How are those Raiders doing? You know, that all those kind of horrible questions you would ask a human being, you have no problem doing it. Listen, we're going to have a new segment for today's show, and that's why I've got to bring in our judge extra early.
Yes.
Bringing back our regular judge, as opposed to bringing back. He's our regular judge. He is awesome. He's gaining an interesting fan base online, by the way. Mm-hmm. It is the celebrity walking around Beverly Hills. It's kind of like the mayor of Beverly Hills, if you don't mind. No offense to the current mayor of Beverly Hills.
Whoever that
is. The one. It's the only. It's Tadeo. Tadeo, welcome back to Who Would Win.
Hey, you know, I'm super excited to be here. It's a beautiful day in Southern California. Yes. But what's more important is what we're discussing here. We don't need CNN. We don't need Fox. What we need is Who Would Win.
That's what
on all the airport TVs. Come on, y'all.
Yes.
Can we get that voted in?
Thank you.
Hey.
I've been saying this for years.
Aye.
Thank you. Guys, here's the reality. None of what you're saying is important whatsoever right now. And because we have to face the bigger issue here, which is, number one, I can't stand the character of Kylo Ren. Mm-hmm. And
we're going to get into why you can at some point, right?
Yeah, we will. We'll talk about it. But just to make things clear, Adam Driver, love Adam Driver. Great actor. He did what the directors told him to do. I get it. But when he became Ben Solo, right, I'm like, I need to see a whole movie on Ben Solo. And that's been kind of a topic of discussion online. Hey, do we want to see a Ben Solo movie, like the search for Ben Solo or what have you? I'm like all about it. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But with that being said, I mentioned this before. I've actually talked to people at Disney. Executives at Disney, who some like me now, some don't. But I was like, hey guys, you're screwing up Star Wars. And they're, I'm not going to mention any names. Most of them were like, no, we know what we're doing. But a couple were like, we know.
How long ago was this conversation?
This was probably, 2.5 years ago. Okay. But all my points for why I talked to them, I said, hey, there's ways to turn around Star Wars as a franchise and just make this absolutely fantastic again. This is something I think we got to discuss. So, what I want to do is talk in our first segment of the show, and I want both of your opinions on this. I want to talk about my 5 ways that I would fix Star Wars.
Okay.
Now, I've got hundreds of ways I would do it, but there's 5 main ways. Some are going to be controversial. Some will be okay, whatever it is, but I want your opinions on it. So I'll say, here's my way. I'll be like, Eric, what do you think? Tadeo, what do you think? And I'll move on. So here we go. 5 ways James Gavsie would fix the Star Wars franchise. Here we go. Number 1 on my list, I would publicly declare the Disney sequels non-canon. As in, it's a different dimension, it's a different story, but it has nothing to do with the main Star Wars universe. And there's a lot of ways you can do it within the Star Wars storyline. I just think you got to get rid of the sequels once and for all, and just let the Mandalorian do what it's going to do, and just let the current storylines kind of go. What do you guys think? I'll go start. Eric, what do you think?
To your point, it has been a lot of just like Star Wars running around over here, this character developing that. So I think maybe a little consolidation. might kind of be a good thing and like bring it back a bit. So you might be onto something.
Okay. Well, interesting. You and I are kind of maybe of the same mind on this. Tadeo, what do you think?
Absolutely. It's too disjointed. So let's just get rid of that. Let's send an email right to the higher ups at Disney today and get this done.
Got it. So we're going to send an email to the corpse of Walt Disney, who may be animated in some way, shape, or form to get this done. Just make the sequels non-canon. Number two way I would fix Star Wars, I would actually properly finish Luke Skywalker's Star Wars story. Right? Okay. Like right now, in the sequels, he's dead, which I think was a horrible way to kill him off. But in The Mandalorian and in the Book of Boba Fett, we see him kind of there making an appearance, and we want more of it. Remember when he came back in the second season, the last episode of The Mandalorian, and he took out all those Dark Trooper, and droids, and just looked absolutely awesome. And everyone's like, "Oh my God, it's back! It's back!" And for a second, they had it. Shouldn't we at least complete Luke Skywalker's story in some way, shape, or form? Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, I cannot disagree with you on that one either, James.
What is happening? Is this real life? Really?
Life is this good. Yeah. Like, guys, we got to move on a little bit here. Like, we got to end it.
And so, Luke Skywalker's story?
Yes.
Well, right.
Yes.
Everyone wants to see more Luke Skywalker. Tadeo, what do you think?
Luke Skywalker is the foundation. So let's give him his respect. Yeah. Come on, y'all. Like, what are we doing here? He helped build the fan base. He helped build the universe.
Who didn't want to be Luke Skywalker?
Correct.
Thank you. I mean, I still do in some way. All right. Wait, is Darth Vader here? Sorry. Or Obi-Wan, maybe. Who knows? Maybe both. All right, here we go. My third way I'd fix Star Wars, I would keep the entire Star Wars storyline in the immediate timeline of The Mandalorian and stay there. To Eric's point, consolidate and continue. Look, everyone wants to know what happens after The Empire Strikes Back. Ahsoka's there, Book of Boba Fett, The Mandalorian. Just stay with that storyline and go. None of this time jump 30 years from the future, 6 years, whatever it is. What do you think, Eric?
No, I still try to keep up, and to your point, it's just like you don't have a lot of time to watch episodes and stuff during the day. So it's kind of like, hey, I want to finish this over here. Can we like wrap that up before you take me over here? So yes, like that's kind of like I said, consolidated, and I can start knocking out this storyline, get it done, keep it over here, this time frame, and then we can have a separate time frame when it's ready, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. No, I love that. I'm, by the way, in complete agreement. All three of us have way too much to do during the day. Yes. It's not like we're like, hey, we have plenty of time to do some gaming or watch whatever. We need to
keep up with it. You're trying to keep up, but when you finally have that time to sit down and watch it, you're like, all right, I need some progress. I need some progress here. Let's go. Give me, right?
Yeah, 3 gimmies right there. Tadeo, what do you think?
Yeah, we're going to get rid of this Back to the Future. Like, we can't do these 30, 50-year jumps. It's just too much for us. And we love Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3. But but yes, in this Star Wars universe, it's too much for us.
Well, even Back to the Future was a straightforward timeline. Like, it was a story from start to end. They had time
travel, but still,
we were jumping to a different story.
Good point.
By the way, when I saw Solo, the standalone story about Han Solo and his origin and all that, and whenever in that movie he's like in danger of being killed or whatever, I'm like, we already saw him die needlessly, by the way, in The Force Awakens. Like, who believes? I look around here, everyone thinks he's really at risk here. Like, we know he doesn't die here. It just kills the story. All right, moving on. The fourth way I would do it, and this is my favorite way. Check this out. I'd have Darth Vader come back as a Force ghost guiding Luke. Maybe even possessing Luke in order for Darth Vader to redeem himself. Remember, the last thing we saw of him in Return of the Jedi, he turned against the dark side. He turned against Emperor Palpatine to save Luke. Who wouldn't want to see Darth Vader as an anti-hero, right? Or even somewhat heroic, guiding Luke and helping him understand how to defeat his enemies? Because who's a better source of the dark side than Darth Vader? Eric, what do you think?
My opinion, I will leave it how it is. I think it's just like such a memorable, just the filmography, everything in that time, with Darth Vader when he did turn against the Emperor and he saved Luke. I think for me, like, that was just epic in itself, and we have that in that like time capsule. So I'm okay with how it is.
Okay.
My opinion,
Tadeo, Eric's clearly wrong. What do you think?
Can we get the same voice for Darth Vader?
Then there's that, too.
See that
Well-
I can bring him back if I can get that voice.
Oh, man.
That's
Rest in
what
peace.
I mean, well, here's
rest
the
in
thing.
peace. That's the problem.
That's right. That's your
Jones.
rest in peace.
Yeah.
No one's going to replace the iconic voice. But, again, I just want to reference back to how we're emailing the reanimated corpse of Walt Disney. So who knows what kind of magic they can. That's horrible.
Okay.
Listen, this is why AI is such a dangerous thing, because you could recreate your characters and sample the voice, what have you. I would actually go with someone who could do recreate the voice in the exact same way. But I think we do need Darth Vader back. Anytime Darth Vader's back in live action, people lose their minds, right? It's just a good thing. All right, last thing, and this is where it's going to be really controversial. I know I said we get rid of the sequels, right? Get rid of the sequels. But there's 3 characters I actually really like from the sequels, okay? Rey, I know people are kind of give her, maybe yes or no. I really like the character of Rey, but I would change her story up a little bit. I also like Ben Solo, not Kylo Ren, but Ben Solo. I'd put him in there. Imagine Han Solo's got a kid now. Maybe it's a younger kid or what have you. But the one character who the sequels did very horrible, unjust things to is Finn. And Finn should have been a Force user. That should have shown that. He should have been the hero. He had the best storyline, in my opinion. Should these 3 characters reappear in the modern day Star Wars timeline some way, shape, or form, or should they disappear if the sequels go away? Eric, what do you think?
I think they should reappear in some shape or form.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah. And it's always fun when you have a little Finn in there, even the name in itself.
Finn was just awesome.
Just a Finn.
He just had the best storyline.
Snowing Finn.
That's just some Finn. Tadeo, what do you think?
I'd like to when you blow it up, you could still keep some of the remnants. So we're gonna interject them in, get rid of the sequels, but we'll keep the 3. They'll have their own storylines in the future.
Maybe Finn is to your point today. Maybe Finn is a part of the Empire. He's just a stormtrooper. It's the exact same story. The Force helps him understand he doesn't want to be part of this, and then he just escapes the Empire. And it's the exact same motivations for that character, and then you get to explore him becoming an amazing Jedi.
Inspirational.
I'm telling you. All right, guys. Legion of Audience, let me know if you agree with everything I said. I know you did. And let me know if you disagree with everything Eric said. And if you agree with everything Tadeo said, which I know you did. Let us know if you like the 5 top reasons.
Or if they have, you can share your top
Or you can share your
reasons,
stuff too. We like hearing from you. Tell us if you have opinions.
Yeah.
Jeremy, our engineer, is being really disruptive right now, trying to give us his opinions. Jeremy, someday we're going to hear your opinions, but not today. Because we need to get started on today's battle. But before we do, we need to thank our sponsors for today's episode, Blank Spaces in Venice, California. Blank Spaces offers the very best in social co-working communities and flexible office spaces. And I'm not just reading an ad for them. I actually have my production office here and my new MMA school, Relentless Martial Arts, at Blank Spaces at their Venice Beach location, which is also where we're doing the Who Would Win podcast right now. If you need an amazing workspace and a great community, do yourself a favor and contact Blank Spaces at www.blankspaces.com immediately. But before we get to the battle, let's go over the basics of a who would win match. Now, each debater will make 3 points. Keep in mind that the who would win match is a random encounter in a neutral location with no prior knowledge or prep time allowed. And the debater has to stay within the confines of the character. And when it comes to determining the winner, it's the judge who has the final say and will determine which character lost based on death, incapacitation, or battlefield removal with no outside interference being allowed. Remember, the bottom line in a who would win match is that for one side to get the win, their opponent must be somehow incapacitated for a minimum of 2 minutes where they pose no threat whatsoever. And now let's get to the tail of the tape for both of our combatants. Eric, please give us the details for Kylo Ren.
Yes, the one that James hates the most.
True.
In all of this today. Okay, so listen, the only child, do not forget, of war heroes Han Solo and Princess Leia. Ben Solo was groomed from birth for greatness within the Jedi Order, only to be seduced by whispers of his grandfather's dark legacy while still a teenager. Betraying his uncle's academy in a night of fire, blood, he adopted a new identity to bury the boy he once was, now oscillating between cold ambition and volcanic outbursts. We've seen that around some children around town these days. Like, oh my gosh, that child over there. Anyways, there's a volcanic outburst of insecurity, which I think is happening with a lot of kids these days. Anyways, beneath the mask and calculated cruelty lies a young man desperate for approval, haunted by the family he destroyed and a destiny he both craves and fears.
By the way, if Kylo Ren just really stuck to that, I mean, like, okay, and really just had Darth Vader guiding him the whole time, which he wouldn't because he's kind of not a bad guy anymore. I think that would have been a great character. But that's not what we got, Eric. That's not what we got.
Right.
I'm not angry about that from all those years ago.
I can't tell. You don't look angry at all.
Not at all. Just, what I'm saying. All right, well done, Eric.
Thank you.
And here are the facts for Captain America. Born in the shadow of the Great Depression to Irish immigrant parents in a cramped Brooklyn tenement, Steve Rogers grew up a sickly artist with an unyielding sense of justice, enlisting in the army despite constant rejections until a clandestine program accepted him. Presumed dead after a final World War II mission as Captain America, he awoke decades later in a world he barely recognized, yet remained the same earnest, self-sacrificing idealist who puts honor above victory and treats every teammate like family. His quiet humility masks a stubborn refusal to compromise on right and wrong, even when it costs him personally. Leader of the Avengers, being the leader of a faction of heroes against Iron Man during Marvel's Civil War, and saving the world countless times, Captain America represents the greatest aspects of a superhero. And now you have the facts on both opponents. Tadeo, do you have any questions before we get started?
Wow, this is pretty impressive. Leading the Avengers? I actually didn't know that the title, and to be continue the legacy of Han Solo and the beautiful Princess Leia.
Oh man!
Oh wow, that right there. The only question I have is, can we get this battle started?
Let's do it.
All right.
Yes. All right, Eric.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Legion of Audience, if you could just see the hand gestures of Eric right now, it's just absolutely amazing. All right, Eric, do what you do. Hit us your point number one.
All right, so let's get into it. Yeah, so Kylo Ren, he commands an exceptionally high midichlorian count inherited from the Skywalker bloodline, okay? Granting him instinctive mastery over raw force energy that manifests as telekinetic precision, capable of lifting and suspending multiple adult humans simultaneously, or crumpling Durasteel bulkheads with focused pressure. His neural pathways are hyperconductive to the force, enabling him for split-second precognitive flashes that reveal incoming attacks to 1.5 seconds in advance and allow mid-combat course corrections before opponents complete their motions. Also, I want to get into his emotional amplification channels, the rage and pain into physical surges that temporarily double his muscle output. This is very important. Another just amazing thing about Kylo Ren. It goes on. And also his reaction speed of letting him close 30-meter gaps in under 2 seconds, or shatter reinforced transparent steel with bare-handed strikes. The dark side enables him to heal faster while enabling him to fight at full force for 30 minutes without collapsing. His pain tolerance is artificially elevated through dark side conditioning, allowing continued combat function with several limbs or third-degree burns, and his adaptive learning curve absorbs and counters new techniques after seeing them only once. All this combination of all his skills and many other things, his experience, his rage, his manipulation of environment, this is why you do not overlook Kylo Ren, the one and only. All that, James, my point number one.
All right, those are pretty good points. As much as I don't like the character of Kylo Ren, one of the things that was interesting to me with the Star Wars lore, because I don't know if you guys remember when The Force Awakens came out, everyone's kind of like, why is Kylo Ren so powerful? Right? Why is Rey so powerful? And what was explained to me, this is really cool, is you think of the Force as like an ocean, right? That people like drink from, of water, what have you. At that point, there weren't a lot of people drinking from that ocean. So anytime someone had the Force awakened within them, there was a lot of the Force for them to tap into, which would kind of boost their power. So I don't see Kylo Ren as weak. As much as I don't like the character, I don't see him as weak, and I see him be able to manipulate that Force to his advantage, just the same way Rey did right from the beginning. So I kind of like where you're going with that. Okay. The only thing I'm going to say, though, is it does amplify his mood. And his mood, as we saw, is really volatile and kind of takes him out of the game sometimes, right? In The Last Jedi, which was an abomination, by the way. In The Last Jedi, we see at the end, Luke Skywalker totally outclasses him without hitting him because he was projecting a Force ghost, and Kylo Ren totally fell into it, right? Yeah. So, and that's when he was really angry and amplifying the Force the most. If anyone can use strategy against someone, it's Captain America. So, but before I get into that, let me talk about my point number one. For my point number one, let's talk about Captain America's physicals. Now, in comic books, what's really cool, especially this happened, I think, in the 80s and kept going. Everyone said, okay, so what is superhuman? Like, well, how do you tell if someone is superhuman? What is that baseline? Marvel was like, okay, we got this. If you can press over 800 pounds above your head, you're officially superhuman. So 801 pounds, superhuman. So Captain America at his baseline, right, is peak human. One more pound, you're superhuman. But at peak human, that means he's running super fast, or very, very fast as well. So I would say Usain Bolt speed, Olympic gymnast agility, durability of, a fighter, being able to hit insanely hard like a heavyweight MMA fighter who's got great boxing skills or kickboxing skills. Put all of that together, that's his baseline. Now give him motivation to fight or make him kind of tap into his resolve, and that goes superhuman. So Captain America's actually accomplished a lot of low-level superhuman stuff. Okay, now, on top of that, my favorite aspect of Captain America's peak human stuff or slight superhuman stuff is his ability, and I still don't get how this works, his ability to, quote-unquote, see faster. So what happens is during like an attack or during something that happens, his mind can actually either slow things down or his brain speeds up. So if a bullet's coming at him, he can actually see it very clearly, like just like a bird casually coming at him, and he can dodge it. It's not that he's fast enough to dodge a bullet, which I believe he is. It's just that he can see it coming and literally just kind of casually move away. Right? There's a really cool comic book panel. There's Spider-Man and Captain America. They're talking in some hangar base. And there's the Quinjet there and some ships. And all of a sudden, there's a massive earthquake. And everyone falls down. And the only two people who didn't fall down, Spider-Man, who has his spider sense, and he kind of attached to a ship. Like he was like clinging on a ship like the side of a wall. And then Captain America who's just standing there regularly. And Spider-Man's like, wait, you have spider sense or you have an ability to see it? And Captain America's like, no, I just saw it. I heard it. And I saw it coming, so I just shifted my weight to make sure I was okay. He just shifted his weight during an earthquake that knocked everyone else down, and he's absolutely fine. This is the baseline of stuff that Captain America is bringing to this battle. And by the way, in terms of emotional resolve, yeah, he's very calm under fire. He's the one who calms down other people under fire. He's a person who's like not going to be emotionally like screaming at someone to stop. He's like, let's use reason, but he'll stay really calm while he's actually fighting someone, which helps him with his strategy in battle. Put all that together, and that's my point number one.
Whew. All right. Yeah. So Captain America, the main theme that I did catch, though, like you said, is he's peak human. Okay, peak. But I want to reiterate this part. Kylo Ren's superhuman. Okay, he's superhuman. All right. Literally, his force powers exceed human limits. He has superhuman strength, speed, and precognition. Okay. Another thing I wanted to get into is the 30-meter gaps in under 2 seconds. Okay. He's able to he could defeat Cap's serum enhanced body. Okay, it can't match that. So I feel with Kylo Ren being able to lift multiple delts, crush Durasteel, and close gaps, I think that's something that Captain America hasn't dealt with, in my opinion. Not on this level, and superhuman level, as a peak human, which you did say Captain America is, not superhuman. Also, the dark side amplification, which you did like about him and his pain tolerance, this also lets Kylo fight through very, very severe injuries. While Cap's endurance, though impressive, it has human limits, all right, versus a Kylo Ren, okay? And lastly, adaptive learning, all right? Through the Force, this lets Kylo instantly counter new techniques, which I feel will outmatch Cap's accelerated learning curve, all right? So bottom line, Captain America is the pinnacle of human potential. I'll give you that, all right? But Kylo Ren's Force Mastery and Dark Side enhancements easily give him a decisive edge in combat, and that is my rebuttal. There,
very
James.
cool. All right, good stuff coming from both of us. My hat is off to you, good sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to call you Sir Eric.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
you have been knighted.
Oh, it's
yeah,
so
that doesn't
kind.
mean a lot because Kylo Ren had his knights as well, and they suck. Anyway, my whole point is this.
Thank you,
today, you've heard good stuff from Eric. You've heard
Yes.
good stuff from me. Where's your head at so far with this battle?
Well, I'm gonna have to leverage in something. We're basically taking love versus hate, like Captain America's love for America.
Yes, the Captain America.
Cap
Yeah.
to anti-Soviet nonsense. But then you have somebody, Kylo Ren, who's pulled in and fueled by the dark side. So this is an epic, just gargantuan world of good versus evil clashing.
Yes.
And that's what we want. And that's real life, right? That's what we deal with every day. So I got to see how it unfolds, but I'm already leaning towards one side. I just don't just won't tell you which side I'm choosing.
Gotcha. Hey, I like it. Look back over here. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We're on the same page. I love it.
Don't you do that. Do not do
Hold
that.
on, did I just send him my Cash App? That's my text. Yeah.
Today's episode is brought to you by Venmo. Venmo.
There you go.
Best way to bribe a judge. All right. Excellent. I agree with the analysis so far. This is an epic battle. Let's see what's going to happen. Stay tuned for point number 2. And we're back. Eric, hit us with your point number 2.
All right, yeah, so let's get into Kylo Ren's weapons and obviously his many different type of fighting styles, okay? So Kylo Ren's signature weapon is a custom cross-guard lightsaber with a cracked kyber crystal that produces an unstable cracking blade extending 1 meter in length. It's able to redirect energy during a saber locks or venting excess plasma to prevent overloads. He also occasionally wields a DL-44 heavy blaster pistol. This is for mid-range engagements up to 40 meters, favoring stun settings for captures or full power bolts to punch through armor, and also incorporates dark side artifacts like ancient Sith daggers for ritualistic close kills. Okay, his fighting style is an aggressive, raw interpretation of Juyo, all right? What Juyo does, it channels emotion into wide sweeping slashes that overwhelm defenses through sheer ferocity, often incorporating lunges that cover 5 meters in a single bound to close gaps. He also blends this with elements of Form V Gem. So for powerful counterstrikes, for example, that redirect opponent momentum back at them, he uses his crossguard vents to trap and literally burn enemy blades during binds, okay? Also, don't forget about his psychological intimidation, all right? I know Captain America sees some things dealing with the Soviets and stuff, but this level of psychological intimidation, I don't think the Cap has ever dealt with. Kylo Ren's psychological intimidation literally plays a central role, okay? He's able to taunt. Taunting can be a bit much for the Cap at times. You know, he's been through a lot, and he's going to get this guy, just a Kylo guy with his taunting. I don't think the Cap can handle that. He also force chokes, okay, to disrupt focus before unleashing combos that alternate between overhead hammers and lateral sweeps, all right? This method also involves force telekinesis, which gives him a very, very long range of attack. And all that, James, is my point number 2.
Okay, great stuff. So the lightsaber, the way he fights, the way he uses the Force to amplify stuff, all good stuff. And I actually like that because it taps into classic Star Wars lore, which just makes the character a little bit more interesting, even though I can't stand the character. So the big thing, though, is that you said, you know, Kylo Ren uses taunts and psychological warfare. Maybe even uses the dark side of the Force to kind of invade someone's mind. That's all stuff Captain America's already faced before, just on a much, much, much higher level. So we all know Thanos, right, from the MCU.
Yes.
And, you know, the Infinity Wars and Endgame and all that kind of stuff, and how Captain America faced off against Thanos, you know, even without Thor's hammer and all that kind of stuff. But here's the thing. That's based off a comic book story. And I'm using the comic book version of Captain America, by the way. The comic book version of Captain America faced off against Thanos when Thanos had the Infinity Gauntlet. And Thanos is like, you need to bow down. Like, I'm destroying you, and you're done, you're wrecked. And Captain America just looked at him straight, like standing face to face with him, and said, do your worst. And then Thanos took a swing at him, and Captain America actually dodged, clocked him. And then Thanos is like, had to use the Infinity Rings to like root his feet to the ground and started hitting Captain America. And Captain America never lost his resolve. All while Thanos is taunting him, saying, I'm destroying the universe. I'm doing all of what I'm doing. I'm not saying that Kylo Ren's not effective with his taunting. What I'm trying to say is Kylo Ren's taunting won't be effective against Captain America if he's already stood up to Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet with all, like, you know, doom and gloom, and he still wouldn't give up or lose his resolve. Cool. That's all I'm saying. Captain America is really an awesome character.
So he's been exposed to some taunting, it sounds like.
He was like me in Hebrew school. Yes. You know, when I wear my football pads to class, and Mrs. Finkelbaum's like, what's more important, class or playing football? And I'm like, I'm clearly answering your question. I had Captain America resolved during that moment. Thank you.
Dressed with your helmet on.
I had a different helmet on because I had some learning problems. Okay.
Tight jock strap.
Yes. Thanks. Appreciate that. You saw my pictures. Okay. Yes. Let me talk about Captain America's weapons, okay? Because just like Kylo Ren has a lightsaber, and it's kind of cool how even though because he couldn't fix it, right? When you can't fix it, you're like, oh yeah, no, I didn't fix it. It's a feature. You know how like the weapon, the exhaust was coming off the sides and everything. Good for him. Captain America has his shield, his iconic shield. So it was made with some unknown formula of vibranium and adamantium. It is insanely hard to break, scratch, dent. It's going to take a lot to do it. It takes a pounding from the Hulk. It's stands up to crazy explosions, powerful beams of energy. And this is a really cool debate between Marvel and Star Wars fans. Can a lightsaber cut through an adamantium shield? I don't think, the only way I think it's going to work, and this is with vibranium, not adamantium. Vibranium absorbs energy. Adamantium is just like the hardest substance in the Marvel universe, right? So vibranium is theorized that a lightsaber, if you just placed it against vibranium, it would take quite some time, but maybe eventually, possibly, it could get through a small layer of vibranium, right? If you just literally put it on and kept it on for hours, maybe it could. Who knows? But with adamantium being the strongest substance in the universe, never mind with vibranium that absorbs energy and kinetic energy and lightsaber energy, the lightsaber is not getting through, right? And the person who can protect himself best with a shield in the Marvel universe is Captain America, right? Now, the cool thing with it, this person has enhanced mind and enhanced strategic capabilities. He's also insanely accurate, right? So this is a person who can throw that shield, bounce it off 5 different things to hit someone at a weird angle. Kylo Ren's great at blocking stuff if it's coming straight at him. But Captain America is going to figure that out really quick. And be like, got it. I'm going to ricochet it off 4 or 5 different things and hit him in the back of the head with this thing, right? While he's not even realizing it. On top of that, sometimes he carries knives. See, Captain America, he's not like Batman. He will kill if he feels like you're not leaving me a choice. He'll maim you. He'll disable you. He's actually a great fighter and will absolutely destroy you. And he will kill you if he feels that's what's best to keep the innocent safe, right? If he feels Kylo Ren's got to die, he's snapping someone's neck. He will absolutely do that. Now, he also carries a sidearm, a firearm, right? With a lot of ammo. In the Star Wars universe, this is kind of cool lore. Projectiles, anything that shoots a projectile actually hits harder than the equivalent hand blaster or gun that's like a laser or energy-based weapon. It actually shoots faster, right? So the projectile goes faster than a laser-based energy weapon. The problem is it's more expensive. So when you have to outfit an entire army, you don't go with the most expensive armaments, which would be like projectile type stuff, but you'd go for laser or energy-based stuff, which means Captain America's bullets from his gun, those are going to go faster and hit harder, and Kylo Ren's not used to dealing with that type of projectile firearm. That's just it's a weird fact, but that's how it is. And finally, Captain America's fighting style. I could go on about every fighting style he's learned. He sees a fighting style, he learns it. He's got a photographic memory, so he can just see it once and he's got it, knows how to put it into a system. I could say like, oh, it's like Batman. Batman knows 120 different martial arts, whatever it is. Captain America knows a ton. What I will say is, at the very least, Captain America is top 20 of combatants in the Marvel Universe. Top 20. Where he exists in there, that's up for debate. He's definitely top 20. He's a much better trained fighter and capable fighter than Kylo Ren. All of that is my point number 2.
Okay, so you think the Cap's pistol is more damaging than armor-piercing DL-44 heavy blaster?
I think it could be, yeah. I think so. And especially how Captain America is going to fire it. Because he's not just firing center mass.
Okay.
See, here's the thing. Captain America, like, look, you and I go to the gun range, right? What are we shooting? Center mass.
Yeah.
Right? Captain America, who can hold the gun easier, won't feel the kickback, and has superhuman accuracy, guess where he's shooting? His hand. He's going to shoot his knee out. He'll be that accurate. So, yeah, I do think he's going to be that effective.
So you're relying on the captain's accuracy, right? All right, he's a marksman, right? He could take out targets. All right, we'll
I don't know if I told you this. I don't like Kylo Ren.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
No, and we're still getting to that, why you don't like him. But, back to the Cap's shield and combat skills, okay? They're very formidable, okay? But Kylo Ren's lightsaber and force powers, I feel on top of his DL-44 heavy blaster, it outmatches Captain America. It outmatches him also in reach and versatility and how lethal his actual weapons are, okay? Also, Kylo's crossguard blade, it can trap, burn, and redirect attacks, okay? while Force telekinesis allows him to strike at range, that Cap's shield cannot counter that, all right? And also back to the fighting style, Kylo literally channels raw emotion into devastating strikes. He can lunge up to 5 meters. He literally will overwhelm any type of disciplined defense that Captain America might possess. And also, I still want to bring back the psychological warfare. I know he's been taunted before, but just these force chokes will literally disrupt Captain's focus before he even can land a strike. And also, I still want to give Captain America, some credit for his martial arts mastery. He's a master of, his martial arts and everything. But Kylo Ren's combination of the lightsaber skills, the Force enhanced attacks, and intimidation gives him the edge in combat. So I feel that Captain America, yes, on Earth for our planet has done a good job, but he cannot face a Force like a Kylo Ren. And that's my rebuttal, James.
I think I'm more like about your facial expressions as you're saying that than the actual point itself, right? I think with you presenting
that's what it takes.
Yeah. By the way, when Eric, for again, because you're not in the studio with us, Legion of Audience, when Eric presents a point, it is a entire body presentation.
Oh, I get
it's not
excited.
it's not just a verbal. It's like elegant hand gestures with like facial expressions. And I'm a little worried because Tadeo is like falling under his spell, possibly.
I'm looking right at him.
Right.
I'm looking right at him.
It's some very uncomfortable eye contact. It's insanely
For
dramatic.
everybody.
That's right. But with that being said, Tadeo, you are now at the turning point.
Yes.
You've heard 2 points from Eric. You've heard 2 points from me. Who do you think is ahead, and what does the other side have to do to gain the victory?
Well, it's interesting because, these epic characters like Kylo Ren they both have sidearms, which is kind of cool, right? Because that's not what they're known for.
Absolutely not. Correct.
And that's very interesting. We have the DL-44 pistol versus the sidearm. So to me, I have to make a decision and render which one is more effective. Because the famous Captain America shield we grew up watching, we know that he can deflect it off of walls, how capable he is. And obviously the lightsaber is kind of an extension of Kylo Ren's body. Like he has that dark force, so it is him. He's moving smoothly. So I have to know distinguishing facts, whose auxiliary armament or whose auxiliary weapons are more effective. So I can go on more than just the shield versus the lightsaber. Because if I went shield versus lightsaber, I'd probably lean on the lightsaber thus far.
How dare you? How dare you?
Very
oh my gosh.
smart man.
Wow. You know what? It's the eye contact, isn't it? It's the eye contact. Okay.
Direct line of sight.
Still looking at him.
I understand how it is. All right. That's an interesting point. Hopefully I have something to deal with all that. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But stay tuned to find out. Stay tuned for our point number 3. And we're back. Eric, it's now or never. Here's your point number 3.
All right, I'm going to bring it home for you, Tadeo. I like the questions. Also, to Tadeo's credit, you always bring up very important questions. I like that you take in the points that we present to you, but you also have questions about some things that might not be, clear enough, or stuff that you need to still take in to make your final decision. So that's credit to you being a good judge. You don't jump to a conclusion. You want all the facts.
Yes.
And you take, the points to the next level, and you really like to kind of go through it and find any holes in our points. So I think we can give him credit for that, James. Just rubbing his palms a little bit.
I don't know. I don't know.
James,
I don't like where he went with the turning points. I don't know if I can give him that much credit anymore. It's just things are shifting in my mind, Eric. I'm not sure.
Right?
We'll see.
James, you're in contempt. James is in contempt of court. Bailiff.
Oh my God! If I had $1 for every time someone said that to me this month, actually, I'm in a little bit of legal problems, so it's okay. Go ahead, Eric. Here's your point number 3.
All right. Yes. So let's get into some of Kylo Ren's actions across his career and his big feats. Okay, that underscore his raw power and strategic ruthlessness. All right, such as destroying let's say Luke Skywalker's Jedi temple for starters. All right, in a single night. Right, of orchestrated betrayal, which has been detailed in Star Wars: The Rise of the one and only Kylo Ren. I know that's a favorite of yours, James. Where he literally manipulated a whole storm to cover his escape after slaying multiple students and confronting his own uncle. All right, in the same comic run, he survived a brutal initiation into the Knights of Ren by defeating their leader in a ritual combat on a hostile planet, enduring environmental hazards let's say toxic gases and wildfire attacks while adapting his techniques mid-fight. Okay, another major feat also includes halting a blaster bolt in midair during the assault on Takodana in The Force Awakens. He literally held it up for suspended it for almost 30 seconds while simultaneously interrogating prisoners. So this guy's ridiculous. All right, he literally showcases his precise control over kinetic energy, which Captain America does not possess. All right, in the comic. Star Wars Age of Resistance, Kylo Ren, he single-handedly conquered the Benethy species homeworld by defeating their God King in aerial combat, impaling the massive creature with his saber again after dodging energy blasts and scaling its own body, all right? So what I feel to defeat Captain America, all right, Kylo Ren would use his precognitive senses to anticipate shield throws, all that, and the acrobatic advances from a Captain America. He will start with a force choke, okay, to literally lift and immobilize Mr. Steve Rogers from range, okay? And then I feel he can use his telekinesis to hurl environmental debris as distractions, closing in with sweeping saber strikes to slice through this little vibranium disc of the Cap, okay? If it's blocked, literally exploit any momentary hesitation from the soldier's moral code by probing his mind for doubts and finishing with a sustained force push to slam him into a wall, followed by, I think there'll be some decapitating going on, some decapitating slashes on our dear, we like you, Captain America, but in this particular fight, you're going to get slashed up, my friend. You're going to face a lightsaber, right? I feel with this slash, once the defenses crack under the dark side's relentless pressure, Captain America doesn't stand a chance in a battle versus Kylo Ren. And all that's my point number 3 there, James.
Very good points, except for a couple of things. Number one.
Let's go. Give it to
Number one, Captain America has faced off against much more powerful versions of Kylo Ren before, right? With better mindsets, better everything. A energy-based laser sword, like a lightsaber, is not common in the Marvel Universe, but it's not uncommon. He's fought against that before. He's used them before. He understands that. People with telekinesis, like the Force, yeah, he knows how Professor X works, Jean Grey works. He's fought against telekinetics before. This is not someone who's like, oh no, it's another XYZ villain with XYZ powers. What do I do? He's like, oh yeah, I've had experience doing this. I already know what to do. This is someone who also pre-plans, right? Of course, there's no preparation time. There's no previous knowledge. But he sees someone with body armor of some type, laser sword, lightsaber, and who can use telekinesis and who can fight. And he's like, got it. I've already experienced all this. I know what to do. I've got a plan already stored. I'll just recall it and go. And the last thing I'm just going to bring up, and this one really got me angry, actually, when I saw The Last Jedi. So both he and Rey are fighting, when they kill Snoke, and then all those red, and I guess, Imperial guards, whatever, all dressed in all red with different weapons, start attacking in the throne room. And Kylo Ren and Rey are fighting them off. Well, Kylo Ren at the very end is about to get slightly decapitated by one of them who's got something to his throat, and Kylo Ren gets saved by Rey. Right? So in this group, all of a sudden, and that's not a bad thing, but I'm just saying, if he's such a badass, so to speak, why didn't he take them all out on his own? Why wasn't he able to do that? It wasn't like he was hurt or anything. He was still like ready to go, had a lightsaber and went, had Rey by his side, and all of a sudden he's like about to die at the hands of these Imperial guards. Not something that would happen to Captain America. Now, let me get to my point number 3.
Let's see.
Yeah, my point number 3 is this. For Captain America, let's talk about biggest feats, his wins, and how he's going to beat Kylo Ren. All right, so right away, Captain America's achieved what you would call monumental victories in Marvel Comics. So one of my favorite ones, he defeated this creature called the Super Adaptoid. Okay, in DC Comics, that's Amazo. That's Marvel's version of Super Adaptoid. And this android, Super Adaptoid, can take on the powers of different creatures, different weapons, and all that. And this android had the combined powers of Iron Man, Thor, Hawkeye, and Goliath. Goliath is someone who could turn into a giant and come back down, all that kind of good stuff. And he outsmarted this character and then defeated the character. Captain America did. Not bad, right?
Not bad.
In Captain America number, I think it was 247, by himself, he stormed a Red Skull-controlled island fortress, went inside, got past the minefields, anti-air defenses, destroyed a doomsday weapon aimed at Washington, D.C., and just destroyed absolutely everything going in. That's not necessarily a great thing against Kylo Ren. It just shows that this is someone who can be absolutely destructive when he wants to, and very, very strategic to accomplish a huge goal. He beat this group of villains called the Serpent Society. You'll never guess. They're all based off snakes and everything, but they all have different powers on that, right? You've got Diamondback, Cottonmouth, Cobra, all this kind of weird stuff. And Captain America beat them using psychology and combat skills. But a group of superpowered snake. I don't know why they went with snakes, by the way, right? They just call yourself like Smasher or something. You know, and they all had to wear snake costumes. And one had like a snake head on with fangs coming down over his face. Like, that's not good for your peripheral vision. Like, right?
Not, like,
Shield comes at you and you're not seeing it because, like, there's a fang in your face. It's just not a good thing, right?
Not worth it.
No, I never wear fangs near my face just for that reason alone.
You've learned over the years.
I've learned over the years. So this one's a good one. Talking about mind controlled. There's the Red Skull, I think it was Captain America number 300, and the Red Skull had was called like a cosmic cube. Now the cosmic cube inside it, if I'm recalling this properly, is one of the Infinity Stones from Thanos' gauntlet, and I think he had the Mind Stone and was trying to use the Mind Stone to persuade Captain America to stand down or do something or what have you. And Captain America's willpower was so strong, he overcame the influence of the Mind Stone. So I don't think Kylo Ren is going to be able to outdo that. Finally, some really cool ones. Captain America has beat Thor. He beat the devil in Marvel Comics, Mephisto, which is pretty cool. I don't know how that works. He just did. But he also beat Doctor Doom. And Doctor Doom, scientific mind, magic mind, closest thing to the Force, right? Kind of take Darth Vader and get him to like the next level. That's kind of like Doctor Doom in a weird way. And Captain America beat him. So the way this is going to work, it's going to look a lot like what happened when Kylo Ren fought Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi, except instead of Luke Skywalker not being there, Captain America will be there. He'll be super defensive, hard to hit, because that's his fighting style. He's going to take shots, blah, 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 ricochet his shield the whole time, and then he's going to get in real close and start hitting Kylo Ren really, really badly. By the way, Captain America is great at disarming people, especially with knives, guns, what have you. He's going to disarm him with that lightsaber and then just absolutely go to town. Not kill him, but knock him the hell out because he deserves it. Captain America wins. That's my point number 3.
Okay, well, I gotta give it to you and to the Cap. He does have a lot of incredible victories. All right, like you went through some notable ones. You know, that Serpent Society. Yeah, I wouldn't have thrown that in there.
No, you didn't think that was a good thing. Like, do you want to like after this? Do you want to like get a snake head or something? With
you bought it, right? Is it in your car?
I got one for me, one for you.
All right, yeah. We'll try to run around Venice for a bit.
Cool.
All right, we'll fit right in. By the way,
by the way, there's already like 100 guys like that
doing
on the
that right
boulevard,
now on the
beach.
boardwalk, right?
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
So they're already there. But yeah, Red Skull, Doctor Doom. But look, Kylo Ren's force powers surpass peak human limits. Okay. Also, precognition and telekinesis let Kylo anticipate attacks, control the battlefield, and manipulate all the different objects that the Cap might throw at him from range, okay? Cap can't match that reach, all right? Also, back to the dark side rage and stamina, Kylo is able to maintain pressure for literally 30 minutes at full power, which counters Cap's disciplined strategy, all right? Kylo can also probe Cap's mind, exploit moral hesitation, which the Cap is bound to. He does have a very huge moral compass, all right? And Kylo can also combine force pushes with all of his saber strikes for literally severely devastating combos. Okay, so my bottom line here is that Cap's tactical genius is impressive. All right, we will not take that away from Captain America, but Kylo's force mastery, do not forget about the force, okay, his speed and all of his relentless offense give him the edge, which will help him to defeat the Cap.
Excellent points. Let's see what the judge has to say. Dale, you've heard 3 points from Eric. You've heard 3 points from me. It's time for your decision. Take us through your process. Tell us a story, if you will, and tell us who wins this battle between Captain America and that no good Kylo Ren.
Well, with all these mergers going on, Paramount, Netflix, and Disney, I don't even know any of this stuff. I'm not a lawyer. This could be coming to television near us soon, but it starts right here on the Who Would Win podcast.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Woo.
So we've got Captain America, who is the face of the USA and good.
Yes.
Versus Kylo Ren, who is the heir and dynasty to what was once good and has turned into evil.
Yes.
So it's an epic, timeless, universal, good versus bad situation where we have the magical shield of adamantium that Cap is throwing around versus lightsaber. So the way this battle goes down is Captain America is going to immediately, you throw his shield, and try and deflect it off of a wall to attack Kylo Ren from behind. And Kylo Ren's going to be a little overwhelmed by this barrage of having to turn and fight in a 360 environment, because he's more with the lightsaber, one-on-one, face-to-face, traditional. However, at that point, Captain America is going to get a little ambitious, firing his firearm that is even better than lasers at Kylo Ren. And all of this barrage of attacks. Not only do we have the shield, but we have this firearm. And Kylo Ren, with his rage, with his anger that's uncontrollable, the pain from within because he's getting this barrage of just attacks, he's going to set up a trap. He's going to put some civilians in harm's way. And it's going to, with his DL-44 pistol, he's going to fire at these innocent bystanders, which is horrendous, horrific, but the Force allows him to do it because there is no good in the devil. That even though Cap beat the devil, but in this world, there's no good. And as Captain America sees this travesty coming and dives towards them, he's going to use, then all of a sudden Kylo Ren's going to use the lunges, and he's going to close in at that 5 meters and leave a debilitating, with his lightsaber, blow to the back of Captain America, rendering him unconscious for 3 minutes. Although he does save the kids, Captain America, in saving the kiddos, he loses the battle and America goes down. Please don't let that happen in the real world, by the way. And that being said, the Dark Force and Darth Vader has come back for this episode to see the evil win. So in my opinion, in this battle, Kylo Ren defeats Captain America.
What in the heck just happened here? Tadeo. What I got to say is, first of all, that was actually kind of brilliant. That's that, by the way. Kylo Ren would totally do that, by the way. He'd see kids and be like, no, I've got to get my destiny, put them at risk, because he doesn't, the whole thing.
And that's
horrible.
the genius of Tadeo to identify that.
I know. I feel like Tadeo beat me in today's episode of Who Would Win, and Eric happened to be here too.
In the room. Around.
No, actually, here's the thing. Sometimes I'll look at something that doesn't go my way, and I'll be like, I understand the logic. That's not this time. That's not this time whatsoever. I don't agree with this whatsoever. Captain America would figure out how to save the kids, as well as have the shield back, because what he doesn't do is throw the shield and not get it back. Maybe I should have said that during the whole episode, but I thought that was implied. All good. With that being said, congratulations to Eric Holmes. Eric, your rep to character I can't stand. I don't know if I made that clear.
Right.
I love Ben Solo.
Thing? Can you tell our fans what's the main thing historically that you could not stand or cannot stand about Kylo Ren? What is it?
Yeah, it's real simple. As a villain, look, the legacy is Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Darth Vader, I'll put it this way. We've had this conversation before, okay? In a pitch meeting, we're talking about really good villains, and someone's like, what if it was like a Kylo Ren type? And I stopped the meeting. I said, hold on. If Darth Vader walks through that room, I'm like, everyone get the hell out of here right now. If Kylo Ren walks through that room, I would turn to everyone in the meeting and say, don't worry, I got this. 30 seconds later, he'd be a bloody mess on the wall. And I'd be like, great. Okay, so what we were talking about, he's just not an effective. At the end of The Last Jedi, after Luke Skywalker completely humiliates him, who's the biggest threat to the universe? Is it the First Order? Or is it who's more scary, the First Order or Kylo Ren? It's definitely not Kylo Ren.
All right.
At the end of The Empire Strikes Back, the Empire's still there. How scary is Darth Vader?
Right.
So in comparison to the legacy of Darth Vader, Kylo Ren fails horribly as a villain.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's why I don't like him. And by the way, it's nothing against Adam Driver. He was following the direction of the director, Rian Johnson, who's a great director, except when it comes to Star Wars. There, I said it.
So there you have it. For our fans, I wanted to clear that up.
Yes, I think they already know over the years, but that's why.
Right.
All right. So with that being said, Eric, you debated brilliantly, brought some great points, strategy, and what have you. Tadeo, I completely disagree with your decision, but I really like how you brought up that decision. Great job as always. Another great episode. Eric, for the next time, tell Legion audience where they can find you online.
Yes, let's connect. Really enjoy connecting with all of our fans. You can find me online at the THE Eric with the C Holmes, HOLMES. That's across all my socials. Hope everyone's enjoying the holiday season.
Very cool. Tadeo, another great performance as a judge. I don't know if I made this clear that I actually surprisingly disagree with your verdict.
I think we might have heard that.
Okay, that's fair.
Check the notes.
That's fair. Yeah, I know. I just had to put that out there. But with that being said, it was still brilliant. It absolutely was brilliant. Great job. Always there doing what you got to do for Who Would Win fans. I love it. Tell Legion of Audience or fan base where they can find you.
Happily, you can find me at Cuerpazo, Cuerpso, or on the west side of Los Angeles, always cruising around, hanging out.
He's not lying.
He's not. That's just like, you even work, or do you just like cruise around?
No,
Like, I don't know.
work is no disrespect, but we haven't worked for years. That's done.
No, but it is funny around town. There's so many people like, yeah, I know that guy. I'm like, yeah,
That's true,
Tadeo.
right?
They're like Tadeo. I'm like Tadeo.
The first time he came to Blank Spaces and management, the 3 people that work in management at Blank Spaces, they're like, he's so familiar. Like, I'm like, really? That's I'm just saying. All right, you can find me on X, aka Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook by typing in @JamesGavsie. Remember to join the official Who Would Win Facebook group to make a suggestion for a matchup for the show and be part of our growing community. You can also find us on Instagram and Threads and TikTok @Who Would Win Show. Don't forget to subscribe to the Who Would Win YouTube channel and listen on YouTube by going to @Who Would Win Show. Yes, that's right. Our podcast is finally on
go.
YouTube.
Yes.
Huge
Woo.
news.
You know what it is? I didn't know YouTube was a thing. I just discovered YouTube last week.
about
It
it.
was just so crazy.
Do you have the
Everyone's
app yet?
like, what's that?
Did you get the app yet?
What is an app?
There's a whole
Jeremy can help
market.
you with that.
That's true. On behalf of myself, Eric Holmes, today on the rest of the amazing Who Would Win production team, thank you once again for checking out another episode of Who Would Win. We'll see you next time.